Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors meeting September the 21st, 2021 at 4 p.m. at the Russell County Government Center for a reconvened meeting. I'd like to first start off with a call of order and roll call. Tim Lovelace.
Here.
Lou Ann Wallace.
Here.
Carl Ray.
Here.
David Eaton.
Here.
Steve Brady.
Here.
Horace Christian.
Present.
Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Ma'am, you have a quorum.
You'll stand for invocation and then remain standing for the pledge, please.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you, we thank you, and we praise you today, Father. Father, we thank you for the rain that you have given us, and we thank you for the opportunity to come out and serve this community, Father. Father, most of all, we just want your will to be done, Father. With any decisions that are made tonight, that you are shown through these decisions that we are better serving you, Father. Father, forgive us for where we fail you each and every day, and just be with us during this time and take us home safely. For it's in your name I pray. Amen.
Everyone's had an opportunity to look at the agenda. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Lou, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, this will open up our workshop for our committee appointments to discuss the language that was written in the suggested amendment. So we'll open the floor for any discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Madam Chair, maybe it'd be good if we just took one of the committees and just did an example, the way I wrote this thing up, to suggesting how we could do it. It seemed to be the only logical way that we could do it.
Well, the problem with that is we did not approve your suggestion. Remember, you said it's a suggestion. We're going to come up with an alternative language. Yes.
Well, all I wanted to do is, I don't know does everybody understand what this is? I mean, do they understand the methodology? Yeah, this is just an example. I mean, I'm not saying that it's been approved. I'm just saying maybe this will help everybody understand it more.
Yes.
Okay?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, well, great.
And for some information on that, the IDA was developed through the General Assembly. They dictate their bylaws and the number of, like the town representatives. Those are two that they are afforded an opportunity to serve on this board. They vote on their own projects. And if I'm reading your thing correctly, there's one from District 2. Steve, there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's actually
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
yeah.
in the town, and 2 of those folks are from the town.
Town
So they're
appointments, okay.
count with
Well,
them.
if you go over the IDA, we've got Roger Sword, District 5, Donnie Christian, District 6, Tony Doty.
But
who's
I
a-
did not vote him, I did not nominate him, so that's a issue with that.
Well, whatever, he's in District 6, regardless of however they got there. Tony Doty, who's a town representative in District 5, and Scott Gilmer, who's a town rep in District 5.
Deanna Jackson now.
Huh.
Miss Jackson is their representative now.
Well, I hadn't heard that. So they'll appoint her. So it'll be Tony and,
Miss Jackson,
okay, Deanna. And then Carlton is in District 5, Dickie Lockridge is in District 5, John Stamper's District 6, and then Ernie McFadden is he was in District, 3, Peanut? He used to be in 3, but he's in 5 now. Okay. Ernie, yeah. And then Jared Glass is in Lou's district. Okay, so let's say, for example, I know Roger's coming up this next term. The way I looked at this thing is, I would have the option to reappoint Roger or appoint somebody else in his place, or just pass and assign my appointment to somebody who doesn't have anybody on that board, which would be, looks like Tim and David. Tim and David, yeah. So, yeah. So the result, say for example, I just passed by. Yeah. After about 3 years, this thing's fixed itself, and we won't have to do this stuff anymore. But I would just pass it on, say to David, and you would make your appointment. That would mean that Roger would drop off, your man would come on, and then I would not have another appointment due until one of my people, either Carlton or Dickie, Lockridge, or Ernie, came up. Then to go through the same process there, I would either make the appointment, appoint somebody else, or pass it on by. Yeah.
Well, and that gets us back to the point, Donnie came on the board, you had nominated Mike Henser. He went to church with you and was in the forestry service. That was his, economic factory. Land company, the forestry there. And so when he quit the church, then he quit and left, and so when he came on, Donnie Christian was nominated in that place for Tim's district, District 1.
But he lives in District 6.
Right, but see, it's all, that's the problem. That's what we did. So we've got.
Yeah,
That-
but it, well,
that we'll
yeah,
have to
but
go back and
you
work
put
on.
Dickie Lockridge on there, and I didn't put him on there. I mean, it has to be where the people on this board have to represent the district in which they live. I mean, that's what we voted on. So we would have equal representation throughout the area, regardless of who put them on there. I mean, we put, it was just helter-skelter.
Yes, but going back to what was presented to us in your thing was, and listen, I don't disagree in whole now, but what was bothersome is that the word qualified, and there was other segments of that sentence that I thought we needed to work on, and but still yet, it's still not going to keep that wording, it's still not going to keep you from saying, well, I've passed, and then Tim says, well, I'm going to appoint such and such over here that might not be from his district. We're still going to get back to the same thing again. No, well, not according to this.
That's what happened before.
But you really need to pick somebody from your district.
Don't say qualified.
Well, I mean, I.
We've all done that. In fact, I did on the Highway Safety Commission, which Gary Dotson lives 15 feet off of my voting district. The middle of the road is the voting district, and he lives on one side, and my district's on the other side. So that right there was okay with me, and it still is. So, these are just things that we need to discuss and make sure that we're okay with and get this language down. And, I just had some angst over some of that. And I do have a written thing too. Steve, you challenged us all to come back, which I think is healthy, to come back with some, points that we wanted to see. And I'm saying we, I'm including you all, but I'll say I here. So I wanted to see how we could work on this. And so, I don't know, we had asked that the attorney come back with proper language or something. What was our last motion? I saw that. I've got my book from last time, but I don't have that exact wording. Pending, I think it says pending approval of, pending the attorney's oversight, or pending the attorney looking at it and coming back with that. We voted to do that. Is that correct, Ms. Patton? I don't know where I've got that. July, probably.
When we voted to
Suspend the,
And one little issue, I guess, that I have, and I totally get this when you're talking about the authorities and those type things, but I'll speak to this little highway and safety because I've been going to it for 5 years. You know, there's no power in being on that board. There's no things that are actually voted on. All these people come, they turn in things that the citizens in the areas have given them, and they've gone out and looked at, and then VDOT goes and either fixes it and comes back and tells us they fix it, or they tell us that they can't, and here's why, or that they're gonna, and here's what they're waiting on. It's just a progress report each month, but it gets a lot done. And so, you know, I don't know, and I know it looks like it's lopsided in places, but all of these people really take this serious and they work hard at it. And, you know, there's really no area, to my knowledge, that doesn't get represented. So I just don't know that those little committees like that should be maybe treated the same as an authority. Just throwing that out there as my
okay.
opinion.
And if I may, let's look at the Highway Safety Committee, or Commission is what it says. And I just said that Gary Dotson is down in the Castlewood area, and the highway divides my district from Tim's district. But let's talk about what he just said about having those folks on there with VDOT and with the sheriff's office, and who else is on there?
State police.
Okay.
State police.
And so those are good advisory positions to have. You have your 7, and then you would have advisory positions, which perhaps are not exactly voting, but they're there. They could have a huge vote by saying, you cannot do that because that's illegal. And then you would stand down, your 7 members would stand down and wouldn't vote that in, just like us listening to our attorney here. So I wouldn't nix them off the island, so to speak. I think they're a needed piece to help us get the job done. So that might be another way that you look at it.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
anybody who's on in there in an advisory capacity should be taken.
Okay, okay. So does that kind of solve your angst a little bit? They
does.
turn into advisory
Yeah,
members.
Yeah, because like,
Doesn't matter how
There's
many
only
you have on
6
there.
members on it. 2 are from Board of Supervisors, which makes it 8, and then the 3 advisory. So, there's,
Should be,
That's no-
This is,
yeah,
yes,
they're
this is
their own
I
thing.
see this as a citizen board, and this does not have anything to do with the board that we as elected officials are serving on. That's taken care of concurrent with term, correct?
why are we on there?
I don't have any idea. We're not changing that, are we? Okay.
Well, I mean,
That's the liaison piece,
what,
isn't it?
what we voted on and what we passed, there would be 1 appointment per board member. So if you're all gonna change it, if you wanna change it.
I know most of these ladies are retired teachers or folks that I've known their families all my life, and I think they do an excellent job. So there's 8 members that's on that board, and they don't have any voting power per se that influences us. They do have a budget, they come with it, and I think these folks do an excellent job on that library board.
what, can we let the boards, I mean, just let their, which I guess is what we're doing now, let their bylaws, if they have bylaws.
Well, I called
that
and asked a lot of them,
dictate
and they
what
don't
we-
have a, now, the ones that have any general assembly do, but your committees are
Yeah,
basically
there's no bylaws on that.
based on,
Commi-
and their appointments are based on us agreeing that they serve the county.
And, yeah, and that's like, just back to this little highway safety. Gary lives in my district, but he represents Lou's district on that committee, and he knows that. I mean, District 2 is the areas that he turns in our meetings, so, you know, that would mean that possibly he might have to go. Well, Carl has 4,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So
Well,
he-
that's what you gotta. that's
but,
what-
and they all are good, and they all
that's
contribute,
what
and
I'm
they,
sitting here talking about. could make a real impact on a board if they was willing to do it. They're not very educated when it comes to knowing how this thing works, you know? And I think if you got out there and spend a little time, you'd find that you could find somebody really good that would wanna come and meet and, you know, and work as a team player or a team member. I mean, I talked to some people in Swords Creek and stuff like that, and Drill and Honeacre, and they said, well, you know, what do you do? I mean, they just didn't know what went on. They just think, you know, this is what we do as a government, and things move along. And I told this one lady, I said, I think you make a real impact because you're very, you know, you'd be really good and very motivated, very hard worker. And she said, yeah, I have an interest, I do. And I said, well, you know, she said, well, I just didn't know much about it and what you guys do.
Wouldn't it be like a whole lot easier if we just, like the people that don't have a representative, just represent one, then we've all got representatives?
First
Yep.
of all, we're gonna have to, if y'all are determined to do that, then you're gonna do that motion. Because it stands right now, everybody has an appointment. That was what the motion was.
Yeah. It's
Am I
not an
right?
easy way to
Kate,
fix it.
we'd have to,
That all boards that were could would be maybe seven regional surviving in our district.
So,
but I'm not for expanding the boards any bigger than what they are right now. Just to get somebody on there.
Well, I know with mine, with the highway safety, my gentleman, he passed away, and I have not filled that board to help keep the numbers down. And that was my choice, and that's fine, because I had another gentleman that was on there that represents VDOT, so he kinda took two places. He was my representative, and he also works for VDOT, so that kinda helped eliminate one position and keep that one position in my district. So I was fine with that. And I did look up the Planning Commission, and from the General Assembly, they have to take a test and work to plan and know roads and subdivisions, and they have a certification in their bylaws. It does say can have up to 15 members.
They have to take it, they can be certified.
Yeah, they are certified,
They
yes.
can be.
Yes.
They don't have to be certified.
Yeah. Wayne has moved, he's gone, he's moved, and Roger resigned, so we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you count, Mr. Christian, because he is with the Board of Supervisors, so basically, there's 7 board members on there.
Well, I don't,
Yeah, and I got on the highway safety because that's a huge issue in my district. Yeah, I mean,
and
that's important to,
yes,
to
and
me
we
and my
all
people.
sit here and agreed that Tim was the right choice at that time because of the situation with all of his roads. And we all sat here and said yes.
yeah, and I
So,
appreciate
I think this is more like a gentleman and a lady's agreement. So if we can settle this, the best way we can is to take it back to where we were. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Steve and Katie?
not from me or not, I'm just saying that's what will have to be done.
Okay.
In order to do what I'm just trying to get parliamentary procedure right.
Okay. So what was that motion, and how do we, reversionary clause, or we amend it, or how do we do that?
To go back to where you were. And like we talked about when Steve made his motion, your bylaws require that written notice be given to members before you amend the bylaws. It would be an amendment because that has already been approved, subject to my legal approval, and there's nothing that in it that would make it unsound. So to me, that means it's passed, it's approved. So you would need to either give written notice, or you can make a motion like happened that night to suspend the bylaws so that you can take up a motion, and it would just be a motion to revert, I think it's Article 7, appointment of committees, back to the version in existence prior to July 12th, 2021, and then just quote that language of the prior bylaw. If that's what the board is wanting to do, is to go back to the way the bylaws were before this amendment was made.
That motion, reverse that motion. I'm thinking that.
I guess if that was just an addition to, the paragraph that's already in existence, then then it would just be a motion to delete it. But it's an amendment, so it would require that, the bylaws to be suspended to take it
Would it
up.
require a public hearing?
Okay, so.
If we suspend them like we did before, that takes away the public hearing part, right?
There's no public hearing part. Your bylaws say that before they can be amended, that you have to give written notice to all the members of what that amendment is going to be. And so that was what we had to do when Steve made his motion that evening.
Gotcha.
Some of you all had not seen it, and so there was a motion made to suspend the bylaws as to that notice, that written notice requirement. And then the motion to amend the bylaw, to make that amendment was then made.
Okay.
So if we have a paper that we can pass out, that would give notice to each one of these board members that we could do the same thing again and take us back to where we were?
Well, that would be already written, because that is our bylaw.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be notice. What you would have to, if you didn't suspend the bylaws, what you'll have to do is to give written notice of what you propose, what any one board member proposes, how they be changed, be given, and then it would have to be taken up at either another continued meeting or the October meeting.
Oh, Lord.
If the bylaws were not suspended as to the notice requirement. Then, if the bylaws are suspended, then you don't have to give written notice. And then the motion would be made on how you want to amend it. But while you're talking about this, I would at least discuss, if a board member wishes to do that, I would discuss it, what the proposal is, so everybody can know on it when they're voting on whether to suspend the bylaws or not. I mean, but you can give written notice today or tomorrow. There's no time frame in your bylaws, but it just says written notice prior to the vote, to the bylaws being amended. So, even if that did not happen tonight, it could happen at the October meeting.
You know, and I'm not saying I'm in a hurry to do it yesterday or next month or a year from now if we're still here or whatever. I mean, we might not be here when the next election rolls around. I mean, but I'm just saying, I think it's not as complicated, and I think it's just like a gentleman and a lady's agreement to say,
Exactly.
when it rolls around, well, okay, Tim, it's between me and you. You got a board appointment this time. If you find somebody, you might refer and say, well, I can't, David. You go ahead and do it this time, and I'll get it next time. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's just, it really comes down to, we could leave it like it is and just have an open conversation to say, because, I mean, everybody just wants somebody to represent them in their district. And I might not find anybody that wants to. I mean, and we got some board members too that don't show up. They don't come to the meetings, you know, and I think a lot of this is just equal representation from our boards. that represent our district, like me and Peanut was talking, the highway safety. I've got one, you know, that serves for me and mine, and I've talked to him numerous times. Like, I'm gonna talk today about something, a road that I need on the 6-year plan. But, I mean, I think that's what it is. I wouldn't mind just to come in here and just take a look and, you know, see if I can educate the people a little bit better and see if I can find somebody, if I can. You know, just
Yes.
reverse it in the next meeting.
But the fact of the matter is, we didn't vote on the recommendation by Mr. Breedy.
No.
And it was a suggestion.
It's just a suggestion.
That's right. And so, and so here we go with how we wanted it worded. Some of us wanted it worded, and per the attorney, there was some verbiage in there that needed to be tweaked.
Yeah.
So there we are. In that part right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
And we're all sitting here and agreeing with it, but we just can't get there. So, I happen to have, Katie, do you want me to read this, or do you have one?
I didn't bring it with me, but if,
Okay,
it's basically the one I wrote before when Steve presented his, I brought it that day. That was just when there was
Any
first a
suggestions?
discussion about, amendment to be made to the bylaws.
okay, so here goes. And I called it a citizens board, because that takes out the elected piece. To the extent not contrary or otherwise controlled by law, all authorities, boards, and commissions shall consist of 7 members, which shall be appointed by a majority vote of the Board of Supervisors. Each board member will nominate an individual to serve. Should a board member's nominee fail to receive approval, the board member shall be allowed to nominate an alternative candidate until a vacancy or the vacancy is filled. Authorities, boards, commissions, and committees in existence as of the date of this amendment shall not have members removed from that board to comply with this provision. Rather, the vacancies shall not be filled until the membership is reduced to 7 members. An individual shall only serve on one board, authority, commission, or committee at a time, with the exception that a member of the Industrial Development Authority may be appointed to the Cumberland Industries Facilities Authority and serve on both authorities simultaneously. Now, I went on to mark up in red that advisory members will not be considered to be a voting member. They are there to advise. You can have as many as you need to advise, whatever that board, committee, commission, whatever authority needs to fully do its job. You can have as many members as you want to on there. They're just not voting members. And because I use the example of the Highway Safety Commission. Now, I also think that I did say in another email to the attorney that I thought it needed to have a disclaimer of some sort on there that we do not discriminate, whatever that disclaimer is. I think that needs to be on there
Yeah. It's
fully.
Yeah.
So we can fix all this with my red markings and everything, and you can put that back out to the board members to see how that tastes and feel and what your,
The recommendation of what you.
what you feel about
This is your
this.
suggestion. Yeah, that's fine.
And then we can add to it, take away,
Yeah,
work on it.
yeah.
So I'm seeing heads nod that we're getting close to various language, and I'll pass this on down. I've got it marked up. I've marked it every which way.
Well, I like it. I mean, just these recommendations kind of opens you to see how it would actually kind of work itself out. I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to be easy, didn't we? I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to be easy to try to get down to this.
And we've not tackled that, and we said that when we got here, when several of us was here, first
in the
time
beginning.
around. And we all agreed that we thought that we needed to be, as fair as we could be to all of our boards. But I don't want to box in future boards, but I know that you can do the same thing, and a future board can hash this out in public again. I get that.
Yeah.
So, just so everybody knows, I got this language from Katie, I tweaked it a little bit, I sent it back, and so I don't know where we are. But we left a motion on the table that the attorney would get pending attorney's approval of things, and she has said that some of the language in the other one that we've been dogging around for 2 or 3 months didn't exactly work. So, there's you another suggestion.
Yeah. And I think it,
Well,
And that's the thing,
somebody of
those
like-mindedness.
others that have
Yeah.
4 and 5,
Yeah.
as they come, they drop off, and you just don't
Well, I don't want
appoint
to put nobody
anybody.
bad. I'd like to put somebody, you know, that would wanna work as a team player and help the county move forward.
We all agree, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Very
all
much.
do.
Cause, I
We
mean,
all
we
do
can't
that.
do it all.
Mhm.
And the best thing you can do is a person, and I don't wanna put somebody on there, and then I hear later, they don't even come to the meeting, they don't even show up, and you put that on there and they missed the last 5 times.
well, and that's where we can just not reappoint those
We just
people.
not report that
You
person.
know?
That's our job
I,
is
I
to,
think there maybe should be some language in there that says if they fail
Miss so many meetings.
They
miss so
miss
many
so many
meetings, they
meetings.
need, they'll be dropped.
And I asked, we asked that question in the beginning when we started this conversation to say, what are the boards or authorities or whatever, what is their language? Do they have that? Does the Industrial Development Authority have that kind of language? And if so, that needs to be taken care of. And so that we continue to have good, equal representation on all of our boards.
Yeah, I like somebody with vision that really wants to help move the county forward. I mean, it's a job for all of us to try to do things, and if you don't have those little committees and stuff, it's kind of working on your behalf in your districts or in your areas to help you to get things done, streamlined, or see an issue problem that can be headed off early, not later, and all of a sudden it comes to here and people get up here and upset and mad. You know, I like to have that handled a little bit, you know.
oh, yeah. Well, and VDOT,
It's like-
VDOT loves this little highway safety.
Well, it's a great thing.
Because they say, well, that's, that's 8 more sets of eyes or however many, that we have out there.
Yeah, we got 25 chug holes out there, Tim.
Yeah, and just to use, I know we keep bringing up the poor little Highway Safety Committee, but thank God for them, because I have had a lot of issues taken care of very easily by this little committee. And I'm very thankful for each one of them. So I'm good to go with what we've got going on there. And,
Well, we've been blessed. I'll tell you, since we've been elected as a group, with every boards and every committees, we've gained jobs, we've had huge industrial development projects, we've got
I would like to say this, y'all was talking about qualifications. Are you wanting to put someone on just to fill that position, that no matter what the qualifications are? I'm referring to my son Donnie. He was on the PSA board for about 16, 18 years, off for a year or two, down he's back on. He's held several positions in that PSA. Now he's on the IDA board, and Donnie's got the experience in that. Now he's thought about, in fact, I think he has applied for the planning commission because his experience in engineering there. You're saying you just want one person to serve on one committee or board. That would mean that Donnie goes off for two of those. Well, if he one of them. If he would go for this planning commission, it would be two of them.
Yeah,
So-
I have a little issue with that too, but, you know,
He-
there's an old adage about
stay.
95% of the work's done by 5% of the people, and if you look around, that's probably pretty true. You know, you've got only a certain number of people who are willing to do this kind of work. I don't think you ought to limit it to just one, maybe two. You don't want to see anybody spread themselves too thin. So I'm thinking maybe no more than two, you know, might be a better rather than just one. Because that would bump some people off, some good people who are willing to work, you know.
We do not plan on moving anybody off. We're just waiting till their term ends and have a reappointment, or they drop off.
Well, no, they wouldn't be reappointed because in what Lou was saying, they can only serve on one board.
Yep.
Isn't that right? Isn't that
Yeah.
right?
Well, that was, I'm sorry, that was part of, an individual shall only serve on one board, authority, or committee or commission at a time, with the exception of the Industrial Development Authority, which has members that sit on the Regional Industrial Development Authority.
You could have advisory committees, they could appoint them.
Yeah,
The
but
board's not
I
voting.
don't think you ought to limit it to just one because we're gonna lose some good people off boards,
Oh, I
you
know.
know, if we do that, you know. So,
Well, we're going right back in the same direction that we came from.
no, we're
Yeah.
not.
So,
Let me say this, Donnie is representing, the IDA in Tim's behalf, is he not?
yeah, that's when he was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, and then, I don't know who he's representing as far as the PSA.
me, I put him in Terry Powers' place when
Okay.
Terry passed away.
That's right, I remember that now, since you brought it to my attention.
Well, the best thing to do is just go ahead and let Katie have your stuff, and we'll all look at it and hopefully make a decision in October. I mean,
Is that what you want to do? Is
Well,
that
I mean-
consensus here?
Well, I mean, I'd like to,
I don't want to do, yeah,
And-
all marked up, but I
well, if just get,
added that to the language.
But I want to say something too, and I want everybody to know, if I have an appointment that's up, and I don't have anyone that is interested in it, I'm not going to just appoint someone just because they live. Yeah, I don't think that's right to anybody. That's-
I just wanted
So-
to say, if any board members between now and then want me to work on any language, if they have a proposal or an idea, if they want me to draft any language to bring back on October, I'm happy to do that. If anybody has any ideas that they want me to try to formalize. I can do that.
In the morning?
By in the morning.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Here, I'm going to ask this same question again that I asked last month. Our boards are already functioning. Are they well-equipped to function with a quorum, with the needed members to continue to do their job until we, as this group, comes together and comes up with the language that is most suitable and palatable to all 7 of us, including staff and the other boards if they want to weigh in, if any of the chairs want to weigh in. I asked for that, and I don't think we got any feedback, did we?
We got feedback from the IDA, and they can continue as is. So the authorities and the boards, the legal boards, that was the only one that were.
The highway safety replied, or they were
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah.
They were gonna say that they're
Well,
fine to
well,
go on
see-
the way that they are right now, they're just fine.
Well, see, what the board has to remember at the pleasure of the Board of Supervisors, the local governing body, is, of course, statutorily, the authorities and boards are set by the Code of Virginia. The commissions are at the pleasure of the Board of Supervisors, where you have one member or all 26,323 members in Russell County. So y'all have that autonomy. But one of the things you gotta remember is the commissions do not have bylaws. So you set the template on this. So if you put it in these new bylaws for the commission, if you put in the norm is that if you miss 3 or more times in a year, unless due to illness or family emergency, you gotta put all that in there, so to be fair, that you'll be considered for removal from the board. And that should come from the board back to the Board of Supervisors. The commission should be presenting that back to the boards. So, again, the IDA replied, the rest of them seemed good with what we had submitted. They're still continuing work. We're still moving along. Everything is still working.
I'd like to say this, when Rebecca had a vacancy on the IDA board, and we put Boo Stampin on, right, and I said, let's try to, get representation, in each district.
I count him as your at-large.
Yeah. Because I made a suggestion, but it's actually filling her position. I mean, her district.
Right. It's yours now.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's a
I-
good
But,
He's
but she was asking me who we could get, and I asked Harry Ferguson, I asked Boo, and another two, and Boo's the one that was chosen. So you're putting him on me now. I don't mind it, but still, she could have another choice, could she not?
Yep.
Everybody needs to have at least one person, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we get equal representation.
I can see from this right here, there's not equal representation, according to this listing here.
One that's got the most.
Most. Yeah.
This gives everybody an opportunity
Yeah.
to opportunity.
And like on the planning commission, I see Mark Mitchell, but Mark was put on there because he was serving as town manager at that time. But since then, he's moved in my district. Well, that's okay. We'll leave him sitting there. Basically, the planning commission, library, IDA, they pretty well have their own set of bylaws that they have to go by. We changed the PSA when we merged the two boards. I do know, Tim, going back to your little highway board, I do know that Sheriff Dye had told Lonzo that he would like someone else appointed in his place because he's not there, he's got other duties, he's got other board appointments that he attends. So right there's one that that will, because he has asked for us to do that, and it's an advisory position. We'll just put someone else in there to represent the sheriff's office. And the state trooper, who's an advisory position, we'll keep that, and the VDOT. So, any other discussion, any other comments, any other thoughts from the board, what they want to do? Katie, do you have any thoughts for us? Any legal advice?
I'll just try to, from what I'm taking, the language that I had drafted and work with Steve and try to combine what you all are trying to achieve. I mean, I guess the only thing I would say, just as a general note, is in the language that I initially drafted was pretty broad, because I don't want you all to, you know, again, I think I understand what you all are trying to achieve, and I think most of you all agree with that, but I don't want you to put language in there that would box you in or allow anybody to use it as a weapon, I guess. And that's why from my legal standpoint, I prefer as broad as language as possible. But, you know, within the bounds of the law, I'll draft whatever the board directs me to draft.
Is this gonna put us, and this would go to your boxing in point, in a position to where, how do I say this? If someone wants to be on a committee that there are a lot of better choices in other districts, and we pass on them, is that gonna create an issue with them saying, well, I'm in your district and I wanted to be on that? But everybody knows that there are other people who have more experience, more.
My recommendation would to be just to take out that language. I mean, I think most of you all are going to appoint people from your districts as a matter of course, but I think if you put language in there that forces you to it, there's a lot of issues that, you know, maybe that I'm not even thinking of right now, but, you know, again, if you have, I mean, take the IDA, for example. If you know the IDA is working on this special project and it's a big project, and your appointment's coming up, but you know somebody in the other county who has specialized knowledge, and they would be a perfect fit for the IDA for those 4 years. I mean, do you want to be boxed in, oh no, you can't appoint them because you have this qualified person, or even have backlash from people who say, well, you didn't ask me, I'm qualified, and you didn't ask me to serve on this board. I just feel like it could be detrimental to you all in those respects.
All right, any other thoughts?
Exactly my concern. That needs to be everybody.
So we're just gonna leave it like this and review and let the attorney make those adjustments, send it out.
You're gonna send that to all board members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to take any suggestions and try to incorporate them too. I mean, in the meantime, if anybody wants to send those to me. Okay.
Make sure I have
Yeah.
somebody that don't have a vision, basically, or wanna help us run, move things forward. Just to be on there, just so they could be on there, I mean.
I think we agree, and also, I commend you, Steve, I really do, for putting this out there and trying to make it better, because certainly we have thought about that. I know you're looking at me like, oh my Lord, what did we do?
First year we talked about doing that, we just never did do anything, and I just felt like we're just kicking that can down the road, so we gotta do something to bring it to the forefront. Let's talk about it, do something about it. I don't wanna get locked into, it'd be another can 12 years down the road when you got a whole new board on there.
Well, they can do the same thing that we're doing here.
They're gonna say, board, they just kicked that can.
They can hash that out, and certainly there needs to be other language. We've been sitting over here kind of chatting amongst ourselves, and there's some more things that is coming to light here. So I think it's all good, and I appreciate the fact that we're being able to discuss this
Conversation about.
for the public's good. And I think it's all for the public's good. That's what we need to keep our minds on, is the public good.
I agree.
So where does that leave us, Madam Chair?
So Katie, you're gonna review that and send it back to all of us, everybody. All right, do you want it by a certain date so that you could have it with your schedule? If you've got any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want her to be reviewing,
probably gonna have the October meeting.
That's one thing we have to discuss, because it's gonna have to be due to conflicts of people's schedules and vacation. It may not be till the 6th.
6th.
Yeah, the 4th and 5th are already due to
Go on
other
vacation.
discussion.
You get some vacation.
Well, I believe you took off on one. It would have to be,
Yeah.
what, day, the 11th is Columbus Day, see? So it either had to be the 12th, that next Tuesday, and we've done that before. So
I
Katie,
don't have an objection to the 12th or the 6th, but you all,
you know,
What about you? Anybody else?
would you rather have it on the 12th,
I would.
on a Tuesday? Okay.
we got at least 2 down here. Carl, where are you, honey?
Yeah.
If you're gonna,
All right,
if you're gonna meet on the 12th, then, that Wednesday, October the 6th, if you could have your comments to me, and then I can send it out on Thursday, and then you'll have over the weekend to,
look at it, okay. So,
Right here in Louisville. We'll change our meeting next month to
Ma-
conflict with
this week, okay, thank you. All right, and if we do change, because I know we're getting out of order with this, but if we do, they just reminded me that we do need a motion to do, prepay our bills early. Because if we wait till the 12th, we'll be a little bit behind, so,
I'll make a motion that we prepay our bills.
I'll second.
all those in favor? Aye. Okay, Vicki, we're good, we got the bills paid.
I'll make a
All right.
motion, we set the October 12th date, Tuesday, at what, ma'am, 6? For 5?
Yep.
Probably need an executive session.
Would you want an executive session, Katie?
I think there's probably something I need to talk to you about.
Okay, 5,
Executive.
for an
So at
executive
5.
session. Yeah.
Second.
All right, well, all right, let's go, there, citizens' comment.
Do we
Right
need to
along.
vote, though, on that?
What?
Yeah.
Katie, do we need a,
Sit next board meeting.
I was gonna do it at the end of at the meeting.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Draw my second.
Well, we'll get it, boys. Katie, any other thing on the board appointments? You want any comments due by the 6th?
If possible, I mean, if it's later than that, just that way, hopefully I can get a proposal to the board to look at a few days in advance of the meeting.
Okay. All right, now, any citizens' comments? Nothing, nobody out there? No constitutional officers? Board discussions or reminders? Tim?
No, ma'am.
Lou? Carl?
No, ma'am.
David?
Yes, ma'am.
You got a discussion or a reminder for us?
I just got something I need to ask Tim and Carl, since they're going to this meeting in a few minutes. I met with VDOT and stuff up there at the Kentridge Road behind Swords Creek Baptist Church, and they've made a huge recommendation that I get that on the 6-year plan, that road. They said they want it on the 6-year plan. They said they can't guarantee when they can get to it, but I've got to do, is that something that I need to make a motion on, or is that
No.
something y'all handle?
No.
Y'all handle it? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I just wanted to make
Okay.
you aware of it, up past Randy Hughes. I've had that conversation with you multiple times, so I met with VDOT on it. So if y'all can get that on there, I'd really appreciate it.
Steve, you got anything?
I really don't have anything, but if Mr. Lester, is there anything you need to say to the board, Tom?
You might have to turn that mic
I'm chairman of the Tazewell County Board of Supervisors, and we have extended a letter to our neighbors here in Russell County, and we just ask for your consideration. It may be something that you'll need to discuss in executive session. And so I will be available. My board has asked me to be available for you at your next meeting if you discuss the item for more conversation on it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Horace, do you have any discussion or reminders?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, Katie, so you will take the suggestions, the amendment that Lou has written on, you wrote on, and add it to everybody else and have it ready for our next board meeting, correct? Yes. Now, Steve and David, I will take a motion to set our next meeting and the time. Now make your motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, October the 12th, 5, with an executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All those in favor? All right, motion for adjournment.
I'll
a
make-
motion to adjourn.
Carl did.
Carl, second.
Second.
Orse. All right, all those in favor? All right.